Guys, hey guys, welcome to the Futures Desk. We are going to be interviewing one of our traders here, Chris. He's just getting started with us. He found us through Mink's channel, so I don't know how many of you all are here from her group, but he's one of you, and hopefully he's gonna become one of us here soon. Hey Chris, how's it going?
Hey man, how are you doing today?
Good. So yeah, let's get right into it. Later on, if we get enough likes, we'll say 50 likes. Should be easy enough. We'll pop open that giveaway link so you guys can sign up, and then towards the end of the session, we'll do that giveaway. Couple $200 credits for anything you want. Assessments, resets for existing traders. Cool. So Chris, let's get into it. How long you been trading?
So I've traded for longer than probably actively, but that makes sense. I started really trading in 2020. 2020 I left corporate, took a payout for vacation time and put it into a Robinhood account, and unfortunately was highly successful too early. It took I think 10,000 to 80,000 in a couple weeks trading Tesla options back during their $2,000 day, $2,000 pricing. And so when you're trading 5 lot options at $1,000 a piece, they move pretty quick. And so I did really well, and unfortunately it was gone just as fast as it came. I gave it back in about a week and a half, and so I kind of stepped back and started to try to reset and actually learn how to trade. So it's still an ongoing process, but 5-ish years at this point of trading, not full time, but as I can, more focused the last couple years on trying to actually learn and trade every day, or at least be available to trade every day.
Okay. So when that happened, that's sort of a critical point for you. How much time did you research options or understand options? Were you eyeing it for a while before you jumped in?
Before I jumped in, I made the dumb decision just to jump in and try to figure it out on the fly. I mean, I had traded some stocks as part of my my portfolio before. Someone said that there's these things called options and they can make money fast, and so I just kind of said, oh, it just goes up and down just like a stock does, right? So it's easy. Well, I found out the hard way that it's a lot harder than it would appear if you have no clue. So then I started looking into it, and then over the next year or two, continued to trade options here and there, but really on much more of a smaller scale, sized down to SPY level. Options that are $1.02 a piece as opposed to $15 to $20 a piece per option. So.
Okay. So then what did you do after that? You struggled
took some time off.
Okay.
I still looked at the market and watched the market, but I didn't spend full-time trading. I really started to get into it full-time around mid-2024. Early 2024, I traded some. Late 2024, I found the futures market, and that's when I started with a couple of accounts from one of the cheaper options out there. Found out very quickly what a trailing drawdown, an intraday trailing drawdown was, and how painful that was. But and then once I found futures, I mean, options are still there, and I still look at them in terms of long-term portfolio things. But I think a lot of people, once you find options, it's kind of hard to go back the other direction.
Yeah, they're pretty highly leveraged, but futures has high leverage as well. You can get yourself in a sticky situation. So you transitioned then and you started trying to learn how to trade. You trying to build some base ground. What's that look like to you? Did you stick with somewhat similar to what you started with at that point with futures, or has it shifted a lot?
So it's shifted quite a bit. I mean, I think initially I started with trying to identify support and resistance levels and trade off of that. But I found that I'm not a patient trader at points, and so oversizing into losing positions and hitting drawdown, and or not being patient enough to let plays develop, because I didn't trust my charting. I didn't trust what I saw in the chart.
Sure.
I think from there I started finding people and watching streamers that were doing things that made sense to me, right? You go through 20 different people and you find 5 that, okay, I identify what this person's saying, the way they're describing it makes sense, what they're seeing is what I'm seeing, and then start kind of refining what what setups I'm looking for and or what things stand out to me in the chart. I can there are a bunch of different systems out there that I can look at that absolutely look like calculus to me. I have no clue
Right.
what it means, but there's others that are easier for my brain to understand. And ultimately, it's all the same thing. You break it down.
Sure
And
is.
now that I've gone 2.5 years, 3 years of trading more consistently, ultimately everyone's looking kind of at similar things. Some people talk about it a different way. I like
Yeah.
to think of things in terms of more on the simpler side.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. Everyone's looking through different lens at the same thing, and sometimes they overcomplicate it. Maybe that's some of those people with the calculus level stuff. Maybe they're doing well with that. I'm not sure. You don't see that very often though. But yeah. So what's it look like now? What's your trading look like now?
So I identify myself as kind of a momentum scalper. I'm looking for break and retest key areas of liquidity coming in. I also look for bounce points and or reversals. Realistically, for me, I trade off of pivot points. So you're support one, support two, pivot point on the bottom end, resistance one above, and then your kind of key pivot point, which on this chart is represented with the purple line. How does momentum flow between that? But then beyond that, like I wish I'd have traded it this morning, but this is my bread and butter. We opened this morning early, had a flush down to the bottom of this volume shelf, and as we started to come back above, ultimately this what ends up being a bull flag. We broke and just took off. There's a 100-point swing from here up to that next volume node. So for me, it's identifying where we're going to bounce and then trying to catch the momentum and ride up. I generally don't trade the open on New York because it's not for the faint of heart at points, given how volatile NQ can be.
Mhm.
But that's from just from a look standpoint. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for. It's are we going to break a key resistance level, and or do we have a trend line that cracks, and then from there, what's the momentum carrying us up?
How do you so looking at this trade, the momentum looks good. The scalpability and the whole, being able to hold this for a longer period of time also looks good in retrospect. So could you go over sort of if it was breaking that point, what would your exit point be on both the risk side and target? Like what are you looking for the management of
Yeah.
your trade?
So let me actually I'll pull this one up because this was actually yesterday. This was yesterday opened. We came down quite a bit, hit kind of this bottom. This is what noon my time. So I'm Central Time, so 12:30, and had slight bounce off that bottom from the morning session. This actually is a trade that I did take, and I'll show you why I entered and exit. So as we broke this flag, essentially, right? I actually entered. I think my entry point was 641, 642 on this break. We started to get the momentum down. It's kind of hard because the volume shelf's weird. The volume shelf we had yesterday was very similar. We had a spot here and down to the bottom of the shelf was kind of here. I actually got in at 42 and I think I was out at 91, 50 points total. But my exit was targeting the next volume node on the volume profile for what had developed over the last few days.
Okay. And do you trail bar by bar? Do you trail?
I
How does that
pull
look?
it as we go. On that one specifically, I think once we got 20, 25 points in profit, I did pull it to break even. Typically, I'm not in a trade for that long. 20 points is kind of my TP that I run with. I felt more confident in that short because we had the volume node, and then I forgot earlier we actually had the gap. There's a gap fill from a couple weeks ago that was actually I believe it was 570 ish. So I felt a little more confident in the ability for it to go fill the gap. So I didn't trail as tight as I normally would have, but typically I'm 10 to 15 point trail. I take what I could get. 20 points is the ideal TP for me.
Okay. So is that 10, 15, 20 point? Is that just sort of where you've always been, or do you adjust that at all for volatility? Like, do you look at an ATR number? Have you thought about that?
I have not thought about that. I have adapted that over time. I started out more in the 10 to 12 point range.
Mhm.
I went up to as high as 30 to 40 as what I set the TP at. And unfortunately, sometimes given the volatility, it's when I had a 40-point TP, we didn't have that much volatility in the market, so it's a lot harder to get it. So I've kind of modulated it depending on where the VIX is sitting at any given time. And right now, obviously, we're getting really good volatility in the market. So
Sure.
you can shoot for a little further out, but you still have to manage the risk side of that. So if I'm going further out on the TP, I've got to be able to risk a little more on the drawdown side.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's something I would consider actually, though. Rather than the fixed 15 or 20, start going back, look at some of your older charts and look at the ATR on the charts that you're trading, and maybe use that as a mechanism to fine tune your targets. You might find some success there. It's not a guarantee, but it's something I always want people to look at, is using volatility in some specific way to kind of look for targets. But I like that you're looking at the higher volume nodes for targets. Those are good targets to have, just because that's a place of value. Right. So cool. So you're an NQ trader, it seems. Do you stick to that? Okay. Have you looked at gold at all lately, or any of these other markets?
So I have traded gold off and on. I actually traded gold before it got really crazy the last couple of months. That was I went through about a month or so where that was kind of the go-to. Gold for a while was at least a little more volatile than NQ was. NQ kind of went through a lull period there for a bit. Mostly gold and NQ would be the two. I have traded ES here and there, and depending on the setup, I don't have it on this chart. I generally will run ES side by side with NQ. And if the right setup presents itself on ES, I'll take that trade, but I prefer NQ in terms of the speed and the volatility of it. Okay,
I see. And you think the speed, I mean, you like the speed, you like to know you're right or wrong quickly. That's just sort of part of your personality.
Well, so I had one of the streamers, one of the guys that I don't know if you know, Selling Reps. I have followed him for a long time, and I identify with a lot of what he talks about. You know, he'll generally say, the less time I'm in the market, the more likely I am to be right. And that's kind of stuck in my head. It made sense to me.
Sure.
So if I'm flow is going my direction, I can get in, get out, and I can make money, then that's the ideal for me.
Yeah. No, I get that. Cool. Okay. We're going right along with this. So you're trading with us now. You're trying to get in a live account. You're not there yet. How's
Correct.
that going?
It's good. I mean, I'd like to say I'm consistent. It's a struggle at points. I mean, life is life. Unfortunately, I've had I think a lot of people deal with this. You have life events happen that take away from your mindset. I don't like journaling. I don't really care for it. But where I've really found value with you guys is that it's right there when you log in. It's right in your face. You know, the first thing you see is, "Hey, do this." And so, from a self-discipline standpoint, I've really kind of forced myself to do it, to get in that uncomfortable spot and spend the time. Go, hey, how do I feel this morning? Did I sleep well last night? Did I wake up on the right side of the bed? Do I feel like I'm in a good place? And the more I've leaned into that, the easier it's been to pick and choose how risk tolerant I am on a given day. If I'm just off, or I just feel weird, or I think something's just not right, it kind of puts me now in a spot of, I'm going to size down. If I trade at all, I'm going to size down, right? And so instead of trading a full mini, I might go to 2 or 3 micros max, just to get my feet under me for the day. And if you're not right and you lose a trade, you're not blowing an account at that point. You're just, all right, I gave it a shot. I'm not there. I'm not reading the market right. I'm going to walk away.
I'm glad that you're finding some help there, because especially as men or not, I mean, it could be anybody, but that grit where you want to just get through it, and you don't want to whine about it. You want to go in and do your job. It's hard to reflect on that and be like, well, it's almost like you have a broken leg and you're trying to go outside and do work on your lawn or something like that. You wouldn't do that if you broke your leg necessarily, right? But you don't recognize it as obviously when you're just tired. because typically you'd be like, well, I can just push through that. I can go outside. I can get my work done. I can push through. I'm aggressive, and doing that with the market just kills you. And I would also say, don't hyper focus on the results you're getting after just a few days with us. I'm not looking at your stuff right now, but I'm assuming it hasn't been too long. But consistency is consistency in how you're executing in the market.
Yeah.
Are you taking your setups? And we all know that, but you have to really keep that in mind, because if you're looking at a distribution of your results based on a 60% win rate or something, everyone's going to have a different path. Right. If you have a good profit factor, you'll get there. Right. Eventually that will play out, but don't get hyper fixated on your short-term results. Give yourself enough room to have long-term results, which we actually suggest. We released the no daily loss limit, which I know people liked. We still recommend having a daily loss limit, but we gave in really to what the people wanted, because they said, look, this messes with my psychology. We're like, okay, go ahead, but we're still going to recommend the daily loss. And honestly, I recommend somewhere between 7, 8, 9, or 10 days of daily loss, splitting your max drawdown.
Right.
So from if day one you just started losing every day, it would take that much of losing every day to actually ruin your account, which is still pretty aggressive in the grand scheme of things, but it's prop. I get it. People don't want to take that much time. So that's sort of the point in the middle. That makes sense. But yeah, I just don't let that affect you, and just keep executing like you're executing, finding those setups. And it's great that you're recognizing those life events and correlating that with maybe I should monitor this. Maybe this introspection is good. So I know the days where it's like, I can do really well on these days when I'm feeling it and the market's in the right conditions, and that's when I take a trade. And those days that I'm off or something happened in my life, I can just step aside and let the market do its thing, and it's okay if I miss it. And that muscle memory is hard to get to, because everything else in our life doesn't work that way.
Yeah, FOMO is I appreciate that, because the FOMO side of it, I think especially with the props, because it's so easy to hop into something and go, hey, I can. Worst case, I miss this trade, I lose an account. So it's the cost entry barrier there for people creates, I think, unfortunately, bad habits, and I'm guilty of that, right? I mean,
it's similar to options. I've always said it's sort of like you have an option. If it could expire worthless, so people are treating it like that, and we can't, like as prop CEOs and people running these props, I can't be too hard on people, because they're doing what traders do. They're finding an edge in this market, and the market is not exactly regular. You're not buying and selling equities, you know what I mean, in options. You're doing something a little bit different that has a different risk tolerance. So it is hard, because our brain's like, this is how I fix this problem, this is how I make money out of it. But it's, unfortunately, it harms your long game if you want to actually grow your own account and do things like that.
And that's so I've been with you guys now, I think I just rolled over. I reset and then I rolled over. So I think I'm just entering like the second plus month at this point. I appreciate what you guys have set up here, because it does teach people to trade, right? I mean, I had a conversation. I'm in Minx's Discord, Traders Wealth Lounge, and we have conversations all the time. And I've got a bunch of friends that I've got that made there, and we'll chat about a variety of things. And there's unfortunately, a lot of people with props will do I'm going to buy Apex as a great example, right? People buy 20 accounts and they split, 10 long, 10 short, and they get 10 funded.
Sure.
That's great, but at no point are they learning what the market is or how to trade. It's just I'm going to figure out it's the trick to make money. And I guess it's just not sustainable, right? So you guys, with the focus of what you've built here, have really created a training ground for people to learn how to create something that is consistent and something that will help long term. And hopefully at the end of it, you could create a profitable trader, makes you guys money. Once they go live with you, you're taking a portion of what they get.
It's our biggest goal,
right? Yeah. Everyone wins at the end of the day. So
yeah, we see it as, we understand a lot of people think of props as, well, why would I want to split my money with them? We're trying to make it. We think we give a pretty good reason of why you'd want to stick with us, and so you can talk with our team. We can manage your account in a way for risk control. We can lock those things out. because a lot of people aren't willing to. We can give you ideas. We're not going to try to say you need to trade like this or you need to trade like that, but hopefully we can take what you bring to us, which is an edge we don't have, and hone it. So yeah, we make all money, but we realize that not everybody's just going to want to pass and make some money and stay with us forever.
Yeah.
So we're hoping we give you value on both sides. So we give you value on learning to just trade well and keep a personal account. So if you get through the program, make a little money with us, and you decide to move on, then we're happy about that. We're giving you value that way. Or ideally, you become one of our top traders and we make a killing together.
Yeah.
And we start investing more money into you, and we start giving you more risk capital, and we can start taking bigger wins. Because obviously there's a small amount of money we can make from the smaller traders, but if we can really grow these traders and give them size and make them comfortable with size in a really good way, then those top performers can make ridiculous amounts of money. So yeah, I'm just, I'm happy to see the value of the program. And that's one thing that's hard to convey in a space where everybody's YOLOing and, it's okay to reset accounts and it's not a problem. And you just keep going and hitting the wall until you get a payout. And guess what, guys? The numbers don't usually work out in your favor if you're not trading well. That's why the prop firms, the big prop firms are making a killing and driving Ferraris.
Yeah, and I think someone actually, the numbers came out yesterday. The oldest, I should say, I'll just say leave it as the oldest firm. I guess their data came out yesterday that on average it's 3% of the evals they sell end up at a payout. Now that's 3% across all of the evals. That has nothing to do with the individual traders. So what percentage of their traders? It's probably less than or at 1% of the actual traders end up at a payout. You figure that a lot of those are the same people over and over again, right? So it's really figuring out how to not churn through the entry fees over and over and over and over again, which I'm guilty of. I've done that probably more than I care to admit.
The first step is honestly just keeping an account. Like everyone wants to go from I'm not profitable to, I pass. I say it all the time. It's like tilting. Everyone thinks of tilting as this negative idea of I'm angry, I'm mad, and this sucks. But really, tilting's the opposite direction. It's anything left or right of center. So when people pass, it's sort of this moment for them, and it's great that they're seeing progress. But you have this sense of euphoria that almost makes you think I'm unstoppable, and now I can size up, and now I should be making $20,000 every week. I'll make this amount every day, and it'll be fine, and everything will be great. And it doesn't go that way, because if you look at the track history, it's 30 failed accounts, then they passed. And if you made that a cumulative P&L, it's not a great looking curve.
It doesn't look good.
Yep. So what we try to do is constantly just reduce size, trade the smallest you can, just so you can stay in the account and get your sea legs, because stress will increase when you know the money's closer, right?
Yep.
When you start thinking you're gonna be like, oh, let me just get a little bit more. Let me take a little bit more out of the market. Or I hit $1,000 today in profit. Now I'm down to 800. You're like, I'll just get it back up to 1,000 because I was at 1,000. And then I'm sure that resonates with everybody.
Yeah.
But you get it down to 800. And when you feel that, these are the things we're trying to expose to the trader. So we're trying to put this in front of you and we want you to journal that, right? The journaling sounds really boring until you realize it will make you more money. And it's not even about there's different levels of journaling. But all I want my traders to do is get it out of their head. Because when you're sitting there in your head, you come up with all sorts of crazy stories about what you would have done or what you could have done. If you write it out, now you can't lie to yourself later. You're like, no, I was thinking the market was going to go long. I took my long. This is how I viewed it. And did I mess up my execution or not? If my edge isn't there, then I need to address my edge and maybe look longer term. But don't be shifting and making new decisions in the middle of the day because people think they can juggle that. Those are expert traders that can really adjust setups and make decisions during the day that aren't part of their plan. And that's not what most of these traders coming to prop should be doing.
Yeah, and then on the journaling side, I think it's where it's helped me, not just the mentality side, but looking at trades that I've done, because it's easy to look at it and go, okay, well, I know why I got into it, but being able to articulate, well, what was I seeing? What was I feeling? What was I seeing? And sometimes it's you're seeing things, or you're seeing a setup come to life that you really don't know in the moment what it is, but looking back at it, can you articulate it? But for me, it's that, well, I got out and, like if my TP is 20 points, right? I got out in 20 points and it ran another 70. Well, why, right? So why did I go out early? Why should I have let it go? Where should my TP have been based on the actual market, not just that, I'm scalping 10 points at a time. Which I think I developed that habit, by the way, from using intraday drawdowns, like some of the competitors do. And you can't let it go too far, because if it goes back on you, then you've lost a third of your drawdown on one trade.
While
that's just not going to work.
Positive in P&L.
Yeah, you're positive P&L, and you have less drawdown than you started with. But being able to identify those spots and why did I get out when I did, or why should I have not? What should I have looked at? I think that's been a kind of a game changer in terms of letting plays develop more, or being able to on the fly make those changes.
Yeah. It sounds like you're on your way. It sounds like you've got some edge in the market and you just need to hone it in. It sounds like you've got life events that happen, but you're learning how to navigate that. I'm happy for you, man. I think you got a good path in front of you. Cool. Let's jump to some questions, and then do we have 50 likes? I'm assuming. I haven't been watching the chat. Raj, did you drop the link for the sign up for the giveaway?
Yeah, the giveaway is live.
Okay, guys. Yeah, go ahead and sign up for that, and we'll go back and now look through some of these questions. All right, that picture, man. I have been trying to indoctrinate the holy grail of everything, that even if I took an L during the session when everything was going as planned, I must further not make any mistake by trading more. Yeah, that's part of your risk management and your plan for the day. If that makes sense for you and your trading, where if you take an L at all during the session and you went to a plan, if that means it's going to trigger you to take further losses based on bad decision making, I would agree with that. But another part of this is obviously the baseline. It's your edge. So if you're able to see your edge and it's playing out and you're executing correctly, then you should probably consider taking more of that edge. If it's affecting your psychology and you're not executing on your edge, you're finding opportunity that's not part of plan, then I would agree, jump off. This is the second part of him. My problem is where to stop and how can I convince myself that markets are here to stay? In both of the situations, either with profit or loss, I tend to forget, despite a set perimeter by me. You want to take that one?
Well, yeah, I think
you look like you have an answer.
We anybody that's done this for any period of time knows that feeling of wanting to catch every move, or wanting to I've got to constantly be looking at the charts, because if I'm not looking at the charts, I'm going to miss last night was a prime example. We dropped 250 points in Globex to start the night. It's always going to be there. There's always going to be these type of moves.
Sure.
Being able to disconnect. I think for me specifically in your platform, if I feel like I'm at a point where I've done all right for the day, or I know that I need to stop, just hit the lockout button.
Yeah.
I force myself into that situation. But avoiding the FOMO of, well, everyone else caught it and I didn't. Well, no, a small percentage of the people caught that move, and that's great for them, and you'll catch the next one. Just look at it, figure out what happened, and next time the setup presents itself, you'll catch it. Don't chase it, because, to me, that situation would be, I'm up $1,000 in this account, and then I'm like, I got to chase it. Well, it's already going. I'm gonna chase it. All of a sudden, it bounces back on you, and you're now not up 1,000, you're down 2,000, and you've breached. And
yeah, no, absolutely. So I would also recommend, if you're not sure when to start or when to stop, you might have you're putting too many options on the table. So you're giving yourself an opportunity to trade any type of momentum in any direction. This isn't to you, this is to the question. But bring it down. You need a playbook, right? So you need start with one setup. Don't give yourself any more than one setup, and then learn to wait for that setup. And it's either it meets the criteria for that setup or it doesn't. So you wait for that, and then you take the trade, and learn to lean on your setups and only take your setups. Don't just follow the market moving randomly, or oh, this is good. I have a feeling it's going to go this way, or the FOMO that you're mentioning. You need to focus, build a playbook, and stick to a setup. You can get more setups later. You can start building a larger playbook, but for now, that those are the kind of constraints you want to put on yourself, so you can really have a game plan going into the market. All right, next question, Raj. Riding with the momentum like professional surfer riding. Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it? You get that same rush, I think. I'm not a surfer, but when you have that push and you have those buyers with you and you're on the long side and you're feeling that go, it definitely feels good. And I think it's almost a problem, because we're all aching to get that feeling. It's such a rush. Yeah, 100%. I keep blowing accounts with TFD. Fine with Top Step, but TFD somehow the slowing down gives me an issue. Need to fix this. So if you go fast enough, hard enough, you're always going to end up passing eventually, right? You're going to pass. You're going to eventually get to a payout if you keep hitting it, right? The statistics, the random statistics of passing and losing, and the randomness of the market, eventually you'll get that. Slowing down is really going to expose if you have an edge, if you can manage that edge, and if you actually have a longer term profit factor. So sometimes you'll see those differences when you slow down. Rushing, again, you can play the prop game and you can hop on all the props and you might be able to make something of it. But if your goal is longer term and you want to do this for a longer period of time in your own personal account, or hopefully with us, you have to expose these things to yourself and you have to control them. And I don't know if that's your specific case, but that's usually what I see. Overtrading is my problem. I have a simple orb strategy with ORR, works good, but I blow my accounts and I'm overtrading. Yeah, so if you have an orb strategy, again, back to the playbook. If you have your orb strategy and that's your strategy, overtrading is you're not taking that strategy, you're doing something else. Otherwise, it's not overtrading. You see your setup and you take your setup. So you need to, you got to figure out what that is. I work online as a truck dispatcher, so I'm on the computer the whole day. Yeah, that'll do it. But we do have lockout features, and just to jump on that, we have Project X, which everyone knows has all their cool risk controls, which is awesome. We saw Rhythmic didn't have a lockout, so we added a lockout ourselves. So whether you're on Rhythmic or TFD, you can use a lockout feature with us, and I highly suggest, don't think about it. If you get the feeling that you need to be done trading, hit the lockout button before, just make your muscles move and click the button and then be done with it. Don't think, maybe there'll be a setup later. I'd like to, I'm down for the day. I'm going to try to make it back. Like, trying to make it back is a horrible approach to trading. You should probably never say those words. I need a platform that restricts me from exceeding the daily profit or number of trades executed. So yeah, our TFDX, which is a Project X platform, has all that. So hop on support or hop in our Discord. We can tell you more about that. It's got a wealth of risk management tools, which is why we like it so much. Just joined. What are your names and roles at TFD? I am Josh. I am the CEO here at TFD, and this is one of our traders. This is Chris, and he's been trading with us, and we're just kind of going over his trading style and what got him here. Hard not to buy more accounts when you get a payout. Yep. Then you have more accounts to trade them not as well as when you only had 1 and 2. Yeah. The options now, I've been running prop for, futures prop since there weren't that many. And now it's just exploded, and you get all the Forex companies coming over, and the options and the discounts and everything. There's just so many accounts you can have right now. And don't get me wrong, there's an edge there. It's an inefficient market in itself. There's money to be made, but the ability for a trader to separate what you do there, if you're trading like 50 accounts and just going crazy on them and just trying to hit payouts and play the numbers game, the contrast between that and maintaining an account, keeping the balance, not blowing it up. The thing we all want to attain to, but realistically, that short-term thinking of just let me get some payouts, let me get 20 of these, all I have to do is make $50 a day. it works for people. It does work for people, but just know your own abilities. Really think about, am I one of those people that wants to just do that? Am I one of those people that can separate that from the trading I want to do long term? And if you can't, you have to make a sacrifice. Next question, Raj. My target keeps getting farther and farther away with every daily trade. Some days it's an additional 50 or 100. How can I reach my target to pass? Okay, so our base hit, I know it's confusing to people because they see the profit target move. And again, this is only during our assessment. We have no consistency rules or base hits after you pass, though we do recommend it because it's one of those things that keeps you at a pace, doesn't make you oversized, not trying to go for home runs right away. But when you go over our base hit number, let's say you have a $100 base hit as an example. If you make $150 in the day, in most programs in their consistency, they would compound that. Let's say you had a 20% consistency program you were at. They would make that $50 overage would turn into a $250 profit target move or something similar to that. With ours, we only increase it by this amount you went over the base hit amount. So if it was $100, you made 150, your profit target goes up by 50, which you already made that 50. So the next day, regardless of how much you made over the base hit, you're the same distance away from your profit target. Hopefully that gave you an explanation that resonates, but if not, we're happy to explain it and show you how that looks, because I know different people need different explanations for that because it is different than the other companies. But that was on purpose because we didn't want people to go over and then feel like they needed to lose money, right? So that's our solution. It's if you can go over $1 million in a day on the base hit, and you won't be any further away from your target the next day, even though your target moved up $1 million with it. So you can make $1 million, and then make $100. And if you had a 5-day assessment, you'd be done. You wouldn't have to make an extra $7 million because of it or something. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Some questions maybe. The only way to make only base hit is feed into the Project X daily profit goal. Once you get there, it'll automatically lock.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, I know people don't like to see their profit target move, but if you look at the math, you're not moving any further away from your target. Okay. I'm shifting from CFDs to futures. Cool. I've never been a Forex guy, but everything I read about CFDs and these Forex brokers and their ability to mess with the spreads, and that just seems crazy to me, wanting to be involved with that when we have futures. I prefer the regulated. My problem is where to stop and how can I convince myself that the markets are here to stay. Both of the situations, either with profit or loss, I tend to forget despite. Cool. I think we already answered his question earlier. Is that it?
Yeah, you want to go?
All right. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the giveaway. I know that's what everyone's waiting on. And what we like to do is we spin the wheel, unless Raj has the marbles game up, but I don't think he does. It's on the wrong computer. Oh my God, look at those names.
That's a lot
So
of
we
names.
spin the wheel, and usually it's a name I can't pronounce, so I'm just going to let you do that, Chris.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Yeah, so you can butcher
That's what I'm used to saying, so let's see if I can do this today.
All right.
It's bigger. All right, Jerome Muyanja?
Sure. Yeah.
Sounds good.
We'll go with that. Congrats. And to the winners, you'll get an email from Raj momentarily with your credit. And you can use that credit. It'll show up at checkout. Wheel of Fortune.
Joseph Gangle.
Here you go. All right. Congrats, guys. Yeah, so we've got some exciting stuff for us. We've got right now there's 40% off everything in terms of assessments. So it's a great time to join us, get access to the program. We don't upsell you on anything. We keep the monthly cost very minimal. You're not going to pay that big upfront cost every month because we want you to be able to trade the account as slow as you need to build the habits that you want. We've dropped the daily loss if that's what you prefer. Again, I still suggest have a daily loss. It's optional, so it's not completely removed. So when you sign up, it can be set to a few different settings. And if you want that more finely tuned, you can just reach out to support and we'll give you whatever daily loss makes sense for you, and it'll be locked on our side. As well, you can trade 4 accounts now. So we understand that people find some psychological edge in trading smaller accounts and more of them for smaller um, profit each day. It makes them more comfortable. So we've opened up that to 4 accounts as well. We hope you make use of it. We've got TFD 2.0 is coming, and we have a beta program for that. If you want to join that, hop in our Discord and tag me, and I will set you up with that. We'd love to have some more testers in there. It's been a whole revamp on the experience. We have a lot of really cool features that you're not going to see not only at any other prop, but really anywhere, because we have access to all the live trade data coming through with you. We've really put together a really cool package that makes journaling hopefully more enjoyable and more effective with really good reporting. So yeah, cool guys. Oh, we got another question. My question to Trader: that how long did it to get
I am
to
not
live?
live. I
Yep,
am not
it's not
live. I'm
live
still
yet.
in assessment phase at this point, so I'm hoping to do that over the next. I think I've got like 10 days ish. I had some losses I'm still making up for, so I'm getting there.
It's okay. Yep.
But
Just keep swinging.
that's right.
Just focus on those setups, and you'll be a better trader if you the more you can build that routine. You know.
Sasha,
And
don't
not,
trade. Yeah, to answer that question, don't trade.
I think it's
Just walk away.
they're getting destroyed.
So
Yeah. Or
I
size down excessively. Don't
yeah,
use your
so
normal size.
I typically, like I said earlier, I don't like the trade. I will if the perfect setup hits and there's a momentum play that comes right off the open, or we get a sweep. There's specific things that happen off the open that I may hop in a trade. If we immediately sweep up to London highs or down to London lows, I might grab a small position and hope that it's just a liquidity sweep and run up
Mm-hmm.
or down. Other than that, I wait till I used to do the 15-minute orb, and I've kind of flexed between the 15-minute or the 30-minute now, depending on how much movement there's been off the open. Um, but just don't trade. Wait the first 15 minutes out is what I would recommend for most people at this point, and just let it settle, let the algo settle, let everything kind of get into place, and then figure out if the market's going to pick a direction. Um, my favorite play right now is actually an inverse orb strategy, where if NQ has a really large range at the very beginning, first couple candles, um, wait till it sets and see if it holds up at the upper end of the orb. Look for a rejection. If it rejects and comes back below and accepts back into the value below, then it's gonna go back down towards the lower orb range. So that's I love that one if I can actually be patient enough to actually wait for it.
Nice. And I would supplement that with a lot of people when they get wrecked and all those kinds of things, it's usually because you're thinking of your upside more than your downside. So every time you're about to get into a trade, go, what am I risking doing this?
Yeah.
And that 9:30, 9:45 window, especially on certain days, but on most days, you're going to get a push in one direction. And if you're thinking in terms of, oh, I'm going to make so much money, I'll hit this, I'll hit my target, I'll pass my assessment, you're not going to be thinking about what this means for risk. So that increased volatility, oversizing, you're going to demolish yourself and be kind of not sure what to do. And it sounds like that's what you're at right now. So think risk first before you take any trade. And that's the only thing you can control. You can control the risk. You can't control where the market's going to go. Cool. All right. I guess we'll just round. There we go. Here he is again. We got third consecutive session. Continuing to participate in sessions like this, I will definitely be able to see many of the shortcomings sorted. Getting a payout wasn't important than sustaining. Great. Yeah, that's what we're hoping. You know, if you want to go sim farm, there's a lot of companies, but that is not us. If you want to learn how to trade long term and turn this into something else, we get a lot of people that they hit rock bottom, and that's when they show up because they're trying their way at some of these carnival games and going at it as fast as they can, and they're like, okay, I've heard about TFD, I heard they want to slow you down. They want to actually grow traders. That is what we're doing. And they find us. So hopefully people find us before they hit rock bottom. But if not, you know, hopefully you see what we're doing and it has value to you. I can assure everyone here, if you can succeed in getting a payout, you can only hear past 25 valuations, and TFD is better than anyone else out. Appreciate that. Been trading props for 3 years now. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Cool. All right, we'll see you guys all in the Discord and whatever the next show is. I don't know what we have planned just now, but we do this every Wednesday. So yeah, come check us out, guys. See you, Chris.
Good to see you. Thanks.